Yo, just made the turn on my way off base. So, I want to welcome you to the Off Base Podcast, afternoon edition. It is 51 degrees in the city of Aurora at 3:59 p.m. on November the 18th, 2021. My name is the Rocky Mountain no-name Jackass. And this is the Off Base Podcast, the podcast specifically and carefully crafted to remind you to suck a fat one if you think that you are the only one. Because you're not. I know that's a little crass, but what the hell. Nice way to get attention for people to potentially listen. And what are you listening to? Well, maybe some entertainment. Definitely relatability if you're a parent. And if you're a spouse. If you've got a lovely wife or a lovely husband. Because I'll talk about those things, man. If you want your relationship to work, you got to talk about it. Similar to sex. If you want good sex, you got to talk to the person that you're with. I figured that out in my early 30s. No need to do like all crazy shit in one night stands, man. You can do crazy shit with your current spouse. There is no doubt about that, and you can have a lot of fun doing it, as long as you talk about it. Yeah, sex is a wonderful thing. as we exit base. A little bit of a yawn. I've been a little tired today. I didn't get the best sleep last night. It was decent. But today I got a ton of little errands done here in the afternoon. I got a package shipped off to my mother. It was her birthday last month. And when I went back home for it, back to Pennsylvania, it's funny, when I went to college in Rhode Island, and when I would tell people where I was from, they would say Pennsylvania in a southern accent. They'd say Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, all the Bostonians and massholes that I went to school with in Rhode Island, they all had, obviously, the New England accent. So it was, Marky, let's go to bar, kid. Come on! Let's go, kid! He's a wicked hot shit, that kid. But they always used to say Pennsylvania with a southern accent, like I was from the South, or some kind of hick. It was weird. I didn't quite get it. I guess to them, anybody outside of New England was dumb. And in some way, I gotta respect that kind of arrogance coming from the New Englanders, man. They get shit done. I'll tell you that much. New Englanders get shit done. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, my mother. My mother! She had a birthday last month. Went back to Pennsylvania. And I bought her some Space Force t-shirts. She turned 80 years old. My father turned 80 years old in June. And we went back for both of their parties. Great parties, by the way. Big family I got. But the shirts that I bought her were too small. And she's a teeny tiny lady. She's only like 4'10", 4'9", if that. Never wears heels, so she doesn't get any taller. And she only weighs like maybe 75 pounds. That's it. She's a teeny tiny. And I bought her two small size t-shirts. And she was like, oh, they're not going to fit me. So I'm like, Mom, you're tiny. You're like Yoda. But she acts like Napoleon, man. We call her the general. But anyway, I had to return those. I got her some medium, so I sent those off. Because it took a while for the BX to actually get those shirts. All they had in stock was smalls and extra larges when I went initially. So I was like, oh, great. I'll just give my mom the smalls. Nope. She doesn't want them. The little midget of a mother, she doesn't want them. My mother's fantastic. She's a saint. 50. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing. My parents been married for 57 years, man. Pretty fucking awesome. So I got that done. Did a couple loads of laundry and folded them and put them away as well. Your laundry's not done till you put it away, so quit fucking around with that. Get the job done. I got a bag packed for my son because he's going to be staying overnight. The older two, I'll have them do it when they get home. They're teens. They can pack their own shit. But a little 8-year-old, he's not going to know what the hell to pack, right? So then the final thing that I did, rather large thing that I did, was I vacuumed the inside of my car and sprayed it down with some Windex in certain areas that needed cleaning. And it cracked me up because, now I'm an adult. And when you're an adult, you have certain things in your car, like Kleenex, right? When I was a young man, back in the day, son, mid-20s, maybe even early 30s, I didn't have no fucking Kleenex in the car. You pick your nose, you wipe it on the seat. That's what you do. So as I was vacuuming out the car, and I got to the driver's seat and vacuuming it out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to suck up any boogers this time around. Just ain't going to happen. Because I don't do that anymore. You change with age. You get a little bit more civilized. But then the next thought went to me, wait a minute. There might not be boogers up here, but those 3 kids that sit in the back every day and never use Kleenex, I don't think I've ever seen any of them use a Kleenex once. They have got to be picking boogers and wiping them on the seats back there, man. Luckily, I didn't think about it when I was vacuuming up the back. I thought about it after I vacuumed up the back and was doing the driver's seat. So I didn't throw up when I went back to vacuum the back, because the vacuuming was already done in the back. But it's so funny, man, the way we evolve with time, with relationships, with kids. I'll guarantee there are times when I've been married over the past 11 years, if I didn't have a box of Kleenex in the car and I pulled out a big one and I didn't find a napkin in the glove compartment, you can guarantee I either wiped it on the bottom of my seat or rolled that fucker up and flicked it out the window, depending on how cold it was. It's so nice to talk about boogers on a Thursday afternoon, huh? November the 18th. Nice afternoon it turned out to be. It was fucking freezing this morning, upper 20s. Mid to upper 20s. No additional snow yet, but that's coming. And I can't wait for the kids to hang out and play in it, because we've been living in such warm climates for the past 8 years. San Antonio and basically Destin, Florida. Sun's bright today. So here we go. I got off tomorrow. My wife took off tomorrow. We're headed to Aspen, where the beer flows like wine. What movie? That's right, Dumb and Dumber. This morning I quoted Dumb and Dumber as well. The other thing that he said to Jeff Daniels when Jim Carrey was trying to convince him to go to Aspen with him. And it's a line that I forget every once in a while, but one of my buddies, who's also in the Air Force, reminds me, where the women flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I love that line. Oh, and he also says, we need to go someplace where it's warm. A little place called Aspen. Yeah, real warm. Dude, that movie is a classic. I gotta start doing that more often when I'm driving to pick the kids up here. When we're off base, on the Off Base podcast. Just throw a quote out there and give you a second to see if you get it. It's funny too, because I have gotten the kids to speak in movie quotes. My wife hates it because she hasn't seen a whole heck of a lot of movies. She's seen her fair share, but every time she doesn't. Women don't quote movies like guys quote movies. There's just certain things about the stories that when they're being told, they hit us. They're either funny or they're influential in some way, shape, or form, and we remember them and we quote them all the fucking time. But women don't do that. It's a funny thing. So there's so many times throughout the day when she comes home from work. Oh my God, that son is nasty. Comes home from work and I'm just talking to her, and then I end up throwing a quote from a movie, and then I go, "What movie?" And she's like, "I don't know." She gets exasperated with me. Exasperation. But she thinks I'm cute, so I got that going for me, luckily. Even though I am a no-name jackass. Why I'm still drinking coffee at 4 p.m., I don't know. I should not be doing that. It's not good for good sleep. But I only had a little bit left, and I didn't want to waste it. Hopefully I'll sweat it out of my system when we go for the big workout. We got the workout tonight, Mondays and Thursdays, me and my stepson. I'm trying to put some muscle back onto my frame, give myself some shape, a nice V. Oh! So we're doing all the power exercises, pull-ups, squats, bench, deadlift, and clean and jerk. I fucking love the clean and jerk. But I have to modify a couple of the exercises because I got lower back issues going on. My lower back issues started, this is interesting, I didn't talk about this in the morning podcast. They started when I was 17 years old. I was playing basketball, and in our practice gym, on either end of the court, the long way of the court were the two main baskets, but then on the sides, there were 4 other baskets, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. And this was back in what the hell was it? It was the early 90s. No, mid-90s. When the hell was I born? Let me think about this for a second. Yeah, it was early 90s. I had to do some quick math there. Early 90s. So, one of the hoops that was close to the exit of the gym, the bolts that actually held the bankboard against the wall were starting to become loose because, we had some pretty fantastic athletes on our team, and these guys would be dunking all the time. And so the bolts that were holding the backboard together were coming loose because they were dunking so hard on it. So obviously we stayed away from that hoop as far as dunking goes. Now, I could never dunk. I could grab the rim with both hands, but I could never dunk. I always hoped that I'd be able to, like, if somebody took a shot or something, I'd be able to come in for a rebound and be able to dunk that way off a rebound, but I never got it. And I've actually had thoughts of like trying to get myself in good enough shape to dunk when I'm 50. Who knows if that's going to happen? I was driving off base the other day, and there's a basketball court next to the child daycare center. And there are a bunch of Army guys, because there's Army guys on the base as well as Air Force guys. A bunch of Army guys were playing a pickup game of 5-on-5, and I was just driving past them, and I was like, fuck, at my age, man, I'll be lucky if I last 5 minutes. And they were playing a half-court ball. They weren't even playing a full-court game. I just don't have the cardio anymore, But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in 2022 when my stepson and I go to try to burn off the fat to show off the muscle that we're putting on our frames. So back to the story of how I got my back injury, lower back injury initially. We had this hoop that everybody was dunking on, and practice was over. A couple guys were just shooting foul shots. I was shooting foul shots, and then the coach blew the whistle. He's like, all right, come on, we got to go. We got to lock up. And I'm dribbling towards the exit. And I swear to God, to this day, because that rim was coming off, it was a little bit tilted, so it was maybe 2-3 inches lower than a regulation hoop. Everybody thought that I dunked on it. Everybody thought that I dunked on it, and I didn't. All I did as I was walking by is I just laid it in like as gently as possible, because I knew that this hoop was dangerous and could potentially keep pulling the bolts out of the wall. And as I did that, I bent down to pick up the ball, and all I heard was my buddy from across the gym go, "Look out!" And the next thing I knew, I just felt bam, and the fucking thing came down right on top of my head. The next thing that I knew, I had my teammates and my coach telling me that my face was covered in blood, and they rushed me to the hospital, called my parents. Parents met me down there, and holy fuck, man, that was some scary shit. That bankboard was probably anywhere between 300 and 500 pounds. Just came down 10 feet up, smack right in the top of the head. Oh, I never passed out. Never passed out through the whole thing, but they did stitch up my head. And I was in a neck brace for the next 2 weeks, which sucked because I missed a lot of games at that point. But yeah, that's where my lower back pain started, because when that bank board hit and it compressed, basically my spine, put like a big compression on my spine. The impact, of course, was felt down in the lower back area as well as my neck. Now, my lower back pain didn't start at that point in time. It started maybe a year later when I tweaked something the wrong way, but I could absolutely credit it to that bank board falling on my head. That was some scary shit, dude. Scary shit. Dude. Dude, the singular. Because hopefully at least one person is listening to this. That'd be cool. If I could help anybody out in any way, shape, or form. Either with my booger story or my bank board story. That's what I'll probably write in the description for this one. Boogers and Bankboards. Anyway, we're getting close to picking up the little guy first. And then we'll go get the 2 holders. So now it'll probably be a good time to sign off, because I don't have anything left to chat about. I'm not going to post tomorrow because I'm not going to be in town, but I want to keep this going. Start it back on Monday and see how this goes. This is just a real nice way for me to talk to somebody while I'm on the road for 20 minutes going to pick up the kiddos. So I wish everybody a great weekend. Mine starts tomorrow. And I'll smell you on Monday.